Hey everybody, back on the iPad today using Sketchbook Pro. Doing a style that I kind of have been working on a bit lately, where I do a couple of really free-form lines, um, and then I pretty much outline the lines and get some rough shapes going, but rounding some of the edges. I believe it's called neurographic. Um, but yeah, it comes up with some interesting shapes depending on your initial lines that you put down. All right, and at this point, I've gone ahead after I've outlined everything, and I've thickened up the Apple Pencil line weight, and I'm kind of trimming things out a little bit more, defining the shapes a little bit, rounding the edges. Uh, Being real loose with this. I'm not trying to be exact and not trying to be perfect with it. Just trying to build some shapes and kind of see where it takes me. This is kind of a reaction response sort of style. And now I'm going ahead and I'm erasing some of it, and there you see I just kind of changed the background. After changing the background, I start a different layer, and I start trying to build some shade and shadow and give the appearance of a light source coming from straight up above. And I'm not sure if this is kind of my take on like looking at river rocks down in a stream or whatever it is, but so I'm going over it with progressively darker outlines, keeping the opacity up a little bit so that some of the colors come through. Again, being really loose here, and progressively getting with a darker color more towards the edges a little bit. Um, and like I said, not being real specific about it, and trying not to be completely accurate, just trying to keep the whole thing relatively abstract. At this point, I've come in and added a little bit of white towards the center of each one of these things, brought the color behind the black, created a new layer, thinned down the Apple Pencil line, and now I'm kind of filling in the what I would call, I guess, I don't know, bulbous pebble shapes or river rocks or whatever they are. And so here I'm just doing, series of thin lines, alternating the angles so they don't have, two rocks or whatever next to each other going in the same direction. This is to offer just a little bit of stimulation for the eye, something more to think about. From a distance, you don't really see it, but as you get close, you might see this stuff and take a look at it and go, wow, there's a bunch of lines in here. Um, yeah, it's a little bit tedious, and obviously this is in time lapse, so it's going a lot quicker than it actually did in real life for me to create these lines. And so once I got these lines down, I think I decided that it wasn't dark enough, so I came back in with some shading to really try to give the appearance of of things being a little bit more 3D. Started thinning out some of the black perimeter lines that I had, erasing some of that stuff so that the lines were actually a little bit thinner. And that's kind of what I'm doing here. Try not to have as much black between the spaces. And then I think I may have come back and said, I didn't really care for that, so I started bringing some of the heavier lines back through and creating a little bit of space. Um, and now I decided I was going to bring in a little bit of kind of a burnt umber or ochre sort of color in here, a little bit of orange. Um, give some variation to some of the rocks. I would hit some of them with a little bit more than others. Some of them would be more orange. Again, going for a little bit more variation at this point, and then came in with some darker again around the edges to really try to get these things to pop a little bit more. I really wasn't getting what I was looking for, and this is, like I said, it's more of a response reaction uh, to what I'm seeing on the screen, just continuing to work it. I believe I came in and tried to pop a little bit more white in the center of these things to really make them feel like that they were